Good afternoon, everybody, to each and every one of our merry Marvelites. Welcome to a fun-filled live return of Marvel Movie Talk. As always, I am Christian Bladt. Down below, the one, the only, the one who belongs down below, the Dark Prince himself, Michael Shirley.
Hey, you guys. Repping my Black cast to you today.
Yeah, that's right. Giving some love to the network. And Jeff, I know you're not wearing yours because I never gave you one, so that's
No, just the Black Panther.
Oh, see, you know what? That's a little bit better. I could also I could give a mug to. Michael, I can't ship you a mug. I don't want it to get broken.
I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, but you can put anything in that mug.
I can hit someone with it.
That's true. That's the most likely scenario. So, gentlemen, it's great to see you again. And we'll have a little programming note for somewhere else you can see us later tonight. But for now, let's dive in to Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, episode 1, up there on Disney Plus. For people who are not letting themselves get distracted by Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's coming up on the same day. So very exciting to talk about that. Let me ask you first, Michael, because you read a lot more recent and current comics than I do. I'm very much stuck in the 20th century. You know, I can basically call up in my memory, covers of X-Men comics from like pre-1993. But in terms of the current stuff, I don't know. So how familiar are you with the Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel, not the Carol Danvers Ms. Marvel, or several other Ms. Marvels that there have been? How familiar are you with this Ms. Marvel heading into the show, Michael?
I'd say I'm about halfway, kind of in the realm of knowing her. I've never bought a solo Ms. Marvel comic, but I do have several that she appears in. Like there's a series with her and Squirrel Girl that's really fun that Guri Hiro did, who's one of my favorite comic book artists right now. I was very nervous about them completely changing her powers, because most people, when they think of her kind of like Mr. Fantastic. She can manipulate her body. So I was really nervous about the powers, but the way they handled them in this episode, and she kind of saves her like high school nemesis with her giant crystal hand, it kind of put away all the worries I had. It feels like they found a way to work her natural sort of origin powers into what isn't cheesy, I guess, on a TV screen.
Correct. Yeah, I can agree with that. I understand enough about her comic book powers, but as I don't have an attachment to them, it hasn't been an issue for me yet. The majority of when I've seen her is in animated form in Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which is still to this moment my daughter's favorite show. Also here with us is our pal Kate Cornell. Hola, amiga.
Hi.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. ¿Cómo estás?
I don't know, if I were in Puerto Rico for a long weekend, I don't know that I would have come back, but good for you that you did.
Oh, I had to, man. I had to. It was time to come home.
Jeff, I assume you are someone who hasn't read a lot of comics. We've talked a little bit about that, so I assume you're heading into this show with little to no familiarity with this iteration of the character, correct?
That's a great assumption. It is correct. And just like Moon Knight, I plan on reading more after the series ends. So yeah. I wanted to come in fresh, see what it's all about. But to Michael's point, I did hear about the backlash once we knew what her powers would be like, how it would look and everything. So I'm still interested to see how fans react to it, because it's cool how they kind of combined it with her Pakistani background, and there's something going on with the bracelet and her aunt or her grandmother or someone in her family that used it before. So it's like, yeah, I'm wondering, is there other people in her family with powers? Does her mom know more about this? What is it that her mom is not saying? So it's interesting, but I can't speak to to the stretchingness of it. I would have liked to see her keep her original powers just because it's her original powers, and
Sure.
it kind of looks iffy because we know that Mr. Fantastic is going to have that same power, so it is what it is. But I enjoyed it for what it was.
Kate, have you read much Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, heading into the show?
I have not.
Well, I feel like we're well poised for a future installment of another show that we do, because I also have not, and I'm doing basically what Jeff is talking about. Like I was like, yeah, I could have read up before the show started, but I'd rather kind of see this story unfold and go from there. Well, let's actually talk about this episode 1 of Ms. Marvel. Kate, big picture, what did you think?
I thought it was a really good representation of because we're getting a new hero. Moon Knight was different in the fact that it didn't mention the Marvel Universe at all. And it was kind of separate from everything. And now you have a hero who is exactly like the fans that watch the movies, that they go to the cons, they still have this joy about them. And the amount of fun they put into the graphics, I think they were inspired a lot by like Scott Pilgrim, and like I think a lot of it was like Into the Spider-Verse with how the graphics in it, like especially when the graffiti was coming to life as they were talking, and they were able to do these kind of long panning shots and still have it be different, so you could let the actors kind of do what they want to do and let the kids be kids while you were telling a story in a very interesting way. So I think what they did was they took they put the fun of the Marvel Universe back into their content, which I think is really, really vital right now, because it almost felt like it was a revitalization of their own brand, as opposed to getting bogged down in the adult traumas and the adult kind of pains of everything that we've experienced. I felt like I was getting a new breath of fresh air, not just from the story and from the age of the Gen Z kind of age, but the way that the creators had been thinking about it. And I feel like they got a lot of younger talent to make all of this stuff happen. So I'm glad that Marvel is starting to think younger, but not too young. They're really good at kind of spanning all age groups and making it enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, I think with this kind of content, I definitely agree. Of course, in the chat, our pal Daniel Drew, as Kamala is my favorite Marvel hero. I loved every second of this episode. Big smile. I love the Ms. Marvel comic art in the end credits so much. Yeah, I think stylized, sort of just the style of the show, just the look of it, the fact that, when she's talking to Mr. Wilson, the counselor, the daydreams, the split screen, the panels, and just the way that the emojis unfolded as she and Bruno were texting each other. I was just like, it's definitely taking a more fun approach, which when you think about the fact that, Endgame opens after the Marvel tease thing. Well, one, it ends with it starts with Hawkeye's family disappearing and presumably being dead, and then it starts with a support group. So yeah, it's a little bit more fun than some of the more recent entries. Michael, what did you think of this first episode?
I will say it's the first episode of a Marvel show since WandaVision where I didn't look at the clock to see if it was almost over. So I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Going back to what you guys were saying about the animation, I think that that's fun and all, but if they totally scrap that, I think I'm going to have a problem with that. Like once she melds in to the movies and with other characters, like I'm going to want to see, like when she first meets Carol Danvers or in the Marvel, I'm going to want to see those pops of when it's from her perspective. I'm going to want to see these little drawings and things, and say like she hits an enemy and then she, you see kind of like bam, power, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to want to see some part of this stylistically carry over into the future project she's in, because I feel like if you just abandon that, the only way you could really do that is for maybe Carol Danvers to look at her and be like, stop dreaming. we're done with this. You're a hero now.
And if anybody, and if anyone was going to do that and talk to her in that way, it would be Carol Danvers. You know, there's no time for this.
Well, it would be Brie Larson.
Well, yeah, that's who we're talking about. We're talking about Brie. Yeah, I know that would be on set where she would tell him on stop
dreaming,
fun. Stop having any fun.
I really love the family in this show.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about them. Yeah,
I feel like they did a really great job of, I don't want to say stereotypes, but little idiosyncrasies of an Indian American family. They got all these little great,
right?
You know,
well, and that's sort of one of the examples that I want to make, because this is it's a Pakistani American family. But anytime that you have an ethnic family, there are, look, you know, it could be an Italian family, and a lot of this would be the same. You know, obviously, you're going to get that, and it's very reminiscent of a show that I watched with my wife. I clarify, on Netflix called Never Have I Ever, and she's a young Indian girl, very similar character. This one just happens to have powers, but I think just getting that family, and I don't think it's stereotypical. I think it's just sort of little things that I think anybody with an overprotective and oftentimes conservative upbringing can relate to. Jeff, I wanted to give you a chance, though, to talk sort of the big pictures, and then we'll talk a little bit about Kamala and the show itself.
Yeah, it's funny that Michael said this is, he compared it to one of his other favorites, because that's exactly how I was going to start. I was going to compare it to, this is probably my favorite, like, debut episode or premiere episode since Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just because that started with a lot of action. Right. And I really enjoyed that series. But from like start to finish, I enjoyed the animation, the style, the comedy, the just the difference that the spirit that this brought compared to Moon Knight and every other show that we've seen so far. And it's like, this is obviously not tailored towards every Marvel fan, but the broad Marvel fans will enjoy it for what it is, and they'll know this is like kind of an homage to the fans of Marvel, because like what Kate was saying, she's one of us pretty much. Like I could literally see myself going to an Avengers con and doing the same thing and dressing up and trying to win,
not me.
and would love to be a superhero and stuff. So like seeing that is seeing yourself in a sense. So it was really cool to see. I loved it. I've already seen it twice. So yeah, wow. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I could see me being jealous of Kate spending for the VIP at Avengers Con and wishing that I hadn't been so cheap. And, you know, like, look how much fun she's having over there. I'm
so cheap. I don't do that.
That's fair. All right. Well, that's the reverse way of me saying that I would be, I'd be showing off my VIP that I paid for. Or especially if
you're the one with all the press screenings, bro.
Yeah.
Which
you're the one already doing it.
Hands in all the pies.
Just before we started, may have responded to the next one. June 29th.
Thor Love and Thunder.
Wow.
Did you get an invite to the Morbius re-release?
We'll talk about that a little bit later. And, you know, I think that some people feel like, you know, that that was a good effort. And, you know, certainly, is it going to hurt the movie and its legacy? Right, Jeff?
No, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. In any case, though, I'm glad that this theme of Kamala Khan being one of us came up, because I had a few minutes after I finished it, and I watched sort of the thing that started to autoplay the suggestion, which is a fan's guide to Ms. Marvel, which is 5 big minutes. And anybody who hasn't watched it, I think you would enjoy it. In that you hear Iman Vellani, the lead in this series, talking about how she grew up and her family would give her a $20 a month allowance, which I was thinking about when I was a kid. I would be able to buy like 34 comic books with that. And then now that means like 4. Literally, I did the math because they were 60 cents when I started buying them, because I'm old. Remember, never forget.
We don't.
Just look at you just look at me and you can't. I know, exactly.
Well, no, because you keep bringing it up.
That's also
Stop
true.
bringing it up.
look, my life brings it up, but and when she saw this character, like she fell in love with the character. There's a photograph of her with a homemade Ms. Marvel costume she wore, and the idea that somebody that liked the character that much gets to play it. I think it's perfect because of the character that Kamala is. Obviously, you could be excited for anybody who gets to fulfill a dream like that. So you feel like in a lot of ways she really is Kamala, and I think that's exciting. I think that the casting is great. I think that the idea that she doesn't look like anybody, in terms of characters that we've had before. Yes, ethnically, but the body type, they didn't look for somebody that was like, well, this is somebody who looks like they could be a superhero. Well, that's the whole point, is that you don't necessarily want that. And I think that and also sort of the identifiable way of starting with her trying to get her driver's license. I failed my first time, but it didn't go as badly as that. It went a little bit better than Kamala's driving test. Did anybody get their driver's license on their first try? I feel like Jeff did. Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah.
So
wait, Michael, you did?
Well, we'll let Jeff go.
Did they not do the breathalyzer?
We'll let Jeff go first.
I was gonna go back onto a different part, so we can talk about this.
Oh no, we're on the most important part, which is the driving test, and then you can go back.
Okay.
So you passed your first time.
Oh yeah. I passed my first test, but I also went through in Indiana we went through a 6-week class, and then did I paid for a class. So I wasn't failing it the first time. No. I was trying to get in and get it out.
Everybody I knew who grew up in New Jersey passed because you take the test in a parking lot. You don't actually go out. So right there, this didn't seem accurate. I don't want to get too bogged.
She in Jersey City?
She was in Jersey City, but that's not the part of New Jersey.
So that's not accurate.
It might be actually.
I took my driving test in LA and I failed for the dumbest reason.
Mm-hmm. But now you got to tell us.
I didn't look at my mirrors enough.
So literally,
in the show.
It's
in the show.
I know.
You didn't
feel
just
like
tilt
this
your
woman
head.
is me. Especially, we have to talk about the scene eventually because I have a story to tell about the dad coming in the Hulk costume.
Yeah,
because I have a story.
Great. Well, we're gonna focus on the family next. Michael, I feel like you've got a good driver's test story, so please.
Oh,
and then Jeff, I'll let you get to your actual important thought. Don't worry.
It was kind of like how Jeff said, you go into this classroom or whatever, and, they just pass everyone if you pay them.
Right.
And then so they send me on the road, and it's a really bad idea. I have this horrible 3-car wreck. And then a week after my car gets fixed, I literally run straight into the back of my dad, in his own car. And so they sent me to driver's school a second time, and I've never had a wreck that was my fault since then.
Well, see, there's by the way, I feel like I saw you in a movie with Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. I feel like that story fits.
Hey, I'm not as old as you, bitch.
Yeah, but you're also not as young as some other people on the show now.
I love this podcast so much. We have the power of shade.
That's right. I mean, because where's the fun if we don't? So Jeff, sorry, you go ahead.
Wait, Cammy. I did, but I didn't turn my head.
Oh, I see.
So Cammy's throwing me some shade right now of you have to look every 15 seconds.
Yeah.
But I was glancing in the mirror.
True.
I wasn't
Let's
physically
be honest.
because I felt and I told the driver, I also might have talked back to the driving instructor. But it was if I turn my head to look at this mirror or look up, I'm no longer looking at the road. And I felt like that was unsafe. So I was I'm still glancing. I didn't hit anything. I did it great. Hello.
I failed my first time because I didn't look and I had to stop short because I almost got hit by a car when I pulled out. And he told me that everything
That's
else
usually what happens when you pull out.
He said everything else. Thank you. He said that everything else I did was fine, but that basically I failed in that first moment. But he wanted to give me the practice of everything. Why didn't you just tell me I was failed, shithead? All right, Jeff. We'll do a whole podcast on driving tests. But if anybody's got one that they want to share in the comments, I promise we'll bring it in at the end. But Jeff, you were going to talk about something earlier, way before we talked about License to Drive with Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
It was a part when you were talking about how Kamala said, like there's not the brown girls from Jersey City that you see that are superheroes, and I love that line because one, it's something that a lot of people of color think that because the normal superhero that you might think is white cis male generically, so like you see that and it's like you're seeing the representation that she's literally talking about. And then she's being that for so many different people. And then also, I just love that line. And then also, I love that the dude's response because it's like, if you're gonna be a hero, you are a hero. And it was like as simple as that. He's like, you're a hero and you're representing. He didn't go into this, but like she's a representation for a lot of different people, and she's a hero because she is, and that can be for anybody. So I just thought that was an easy, like a small scene, but like it was impactful.
No, I think it is very important, and it's probably very difficult to remember her friend's name because over the past few months we've been conditioned to the fact that we don't talk about Bruno, but in this podcast we can actually talk about him. We can talk about Bruno.
That's literally how I remembered it. Saying that joke. I'm like, what? I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how much it's going to become up in like, you know. Because they're Disney owns this company.
Of course.
They could totally play the song.
They already referenced Mulan. Ghost 8386, aka Jeff Williams superfan, says this show is giving me John Hughes films. Better Off Dead, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Sure, Parker Lewis Can't Lose. All right, somebody might be as old as me. Teen Witch, nice. Bend It Like Beckham and Spider-Man to the Universe vibes. I think that outsider that is able to accomplish some level of greatness, maybe not Better Off Dead, but I think that there's a lot of that familiar sort of feeling to this show. I definitely agree with that. So, Michael, you were talking a little bit before about the family, and that is what I wanted to get back to. And I think that, there is there is a part of it that feels very stereotypical when a character has strict parents. I mean, to some extent, you saw Awkwafina's character in Shang-Chi. She had sort of like those parents of like, what are you doing with your life? So it's like we've very recently seen that in the MCU. But at the same time, I think there's the realistic of like, no, her parents don't hate her. She just feels like they do. They can be disappointed and all that. What did you think sort of was the storytelling with regards to the family a little bit more nuanced than we get sometimes? Or do you think that that's maybe something we're more likely to get in future episodes?
Oh, I think we're going to be getting a lot of the family. I think that's just kind of a trait that comes with, like first generation American immigrants. You work really hard to get here, so you don't really want to blow your chance, and you want to make sure that your kids appreciate, everything that you've done. So that leaves a little room to be overbearing. You see that in just pretty much, any culture, like you were saying, like in Asian culture, the family for me is just really kind of, it helps me realize why she's so quirky and accept it. They're kind of off and weird. Like her mom's hilarious. I really, really enjoy her mom. She's like,
her dad's the best.
Like
I like them both. Yeah.
Like, oh, we have a history of fantasizing. Like, oh, I have bad genes. Like, oh, it's just really funny when she's like riding in the car. Home
or like that moment, having been a teenage girl. I think I'm the only one in this group that's been a teenage girl. Yeah. Having your mom look at you,
you're really coming here with some preconceived notions. Kate.
Exactly.
I'm
very
you
biased.
Really don't know us.
Having the mom look at her on the couch, going, "No, I don't trust you," and the dad going, "No, we just don't trust it." It's like, "No, I don't trust you," and I'm like, "I've been there."
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think they're really
this was
great.
A documentary for me. This wasn't like fiction.
I think the family is really going to grow on the fan base, and I think they're gonna have this kind of special place in the fan base's heart.
I wonder when the dad's gonna start dressing up like his daughter.
Well,
fanboying over the daughter.
I know you specifically referenced the Hulk scene, so let's jump right to that since we're talking about her dad right now.
Oh my god!
That is very much a parent thing of like, no, I'll do this thing with you, and then the notion of like the time my dad offered to drive me and friends to see Metallica and Guns N' Roses, I was like, no, Dad, you can't come with us. It's not really like, if anything, you can sit in the parking lot for 4.5 hours.
Brutal.
but he didn't. No,
good for
figured
him.
it out.
He came in.
Yeah.
He
just stayed for Metallica and then he left.
My mom took me because I really wanted to go and she wouldn't let me go alone. And in LA, everything is really spread out. And I didn't have a lot of friends in high school that were into anime, but she went to Anime LA with me.
Okay.
And knowing nothing about it. And so she was just, and like, we go to Comic-Con conventions and like, they're kind of like tame, but like you have people at anime cons walking around in like the skimpiest little shit.
She was probably very thankful for
my mom was very shocked and very worried. But the thing that she really enjoyed about it was that like everyone would take photos with everybody because people just started getting smartphones, and like people would take photos and she's like, do they even know who they're taking the picture with, or do they just like the costume? And I would look at them and be like, I don't think they know, because they're not saying the character. They just like the costume. They're doing it for like whatever Instagram was years ago before I cared. But like my mom was just like, okay, so nobody knows anything about anything.
Yeah.
And she was in like a beautiful scarf. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Scarf. And like, I'm like, Mom, this isn't that kind of event, you know?
By the way, how is Avengers Con like a 3 or 4 hour evening affair, and when in reality it would be like 4 days at like a Hyatt Regency or something? I mean, the idea that it was like, just for a few hours.
Oh man, I hated how they Baz Luhrmann through that whole scene. I was like, you guys spent so much money.
So much money. Yeah.
All this stuff. And you're just gonna plow through it like it's some drunk like haze.
They did.
But honestly, that's how I feel when I go to conventions.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm not even drinking. And like, it's just like, there's just so many people. And then you just zero in on the one person whose costume is better than yours. And you get understandably upset.
Yeah.
A little earlier in the chat, our pal Kemi Egan said Iman Vellani is absolutely delightful as Ms. Marvel, and I can't wait to watch the next episode. Yeah, I mean, I think she's a very identifiable character if this is a story just about, being a junior in high school and not knowing what to do, and then there's no superpower aspect to it. So I think that, to Ghost's point earlier, sort of the feel of the influences of just the high school parts, because it's not hard to get the high school parts wrong, as much as I can sing the praises of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, I never really felt like Peter Parker was in a high school. It just was like,
no,
because
it wasn't about the family. It wasn't.
Even in 1962, I doubt that was accurate. So
because it was more about get you away from your life.
Right. Exactly.
It was more about that was what you were escaping from, instead of like. And that's why I think the phones and the texting, it's like it became the whole world. Their imagining of getting out and like, oh, I could do this and I could do this, and the world manipulated around them. It became, the socializing became their life, and it filled up the frame, which I thought was really, really interesting way to do it. It wasn't just being clever; it was what is in the frame that we can manipulate into being something more creative and more interesting, because that's what they're doing, because they're stuck. And I think that was a really beautiful way to do it. And I think, honestly, we talked about family earlier. I don't think we've gotten a family yet in this universe. I mean, we have Aunt May sorry, R.I.P.
Yeah. I was about to say the Black
But like,
Widow's
it wasn't
family.
really about that. Like, and like we had the Starks, and then they died. very
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a very Disney thing.
Like, you know what I
get
mean?
rid of
Like,
the
we
family as
haven't-
much as
Oh my God, Disney, please don't kill the family.
We
I
got
mean, they're a part of
got
the
Lane.
character,
Oh my
so
God.
I would like to think they won't do that, but
Oh my God.
you never know. Sorry, what were you going to say, Jeff?
No, I'm trying to think what families we have now. I think the
Yeah.
only families available now are the Langs, and we haven't seen
Well,
Yeah.
and
the
like
movie
it's sort of a
Who was
different.
mentioned?
It's his family, but Hawkeye, his family did factor in a lot. But you're right, for the most part, we're not really getting. But Thor doesn't even have his brother anymore. So it's.
I mean, he does, but it's like an alternate universe version, and he doesn't know about it.
We saw Black Widow's family.
So
that was fun.
So he's got a cousin.
Black
Oliver,
okay,
basically.
Black Widow. Was
Black
the
Widow
first
family
time.
scene was good. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's funny because Ivan mentioned something. I guess now we know the public knows so much about the Battle with Thanos because of Scott Lang's podcast. The idea that Scott Lang had a podcast and that was in like the first minute, that was actually one of my favorite things as the show was setting up. Just the idea of like, like Scott definitely seems like somebody's like, I know all this stuff. I want to talk about it.
Especially since he's been blipped for 5 years.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So there's
Not
no
blipped,
hey, we're not
quantumed.
Yeah.
We're not gonna tell people about like the mission. There's no secret intelligence. We're gonna tell everybody what happened, including Captain Marvel coming in with a new haircut and everything. Yeah. I love the transition of the haircuts when they were like trying to fix that.
I agree with Daniel that Marvel should have Paul Rudd make that real. And honestly, wouldn't be shocked if that is something that
they might actually, because they're really good at releasing cross content, and the audio fiction world is busting right now. So they might.
Think,
go ahead, Jeff.
You think the people that we saw, like Captain Panther or something, is going to be in What If?
Captain Panther and Dr. Marvel. And, I'm that's probably season 2, all of it right there. So Kemi Egan got a kick out of Kamala's YouTube channel how she breaks down the Avengers, especially that Thor is a secret gamer. I like how much they had her fandom be, sort of at least somewhat in the modern day for a kid who's 16. Just the fact that of course she would have a YouTube channel.
Also, isn't he yelling at a 12-year-old in Endgame? Would be about the same age.
Scott or
no, Thor, when they're playing at New Asgard.
Oh yeah.
They're yelling at a 12-year-old. So with the time scope of between Endgame and all the other content, there might be enough years in between.
You mean Brutal Master? Yes.
Yeah, Brutal Master. When Korg was like, they're yelling at me again. I'm sad.
So look, I think that
Master. Thank you, Cami.
They did a great job setting up sort of her backstory. And there have been some comments in the chat that clearly her mother is well aware of the anti-character that's referenced and who sent this box that happens to, include the bracelet in there, which that would tell me she didn't really know that much about it, because you would think that you wouldn't just she didn't see the bracelet, I think. But what's that? Did her mom actually saw it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me that she doesn't
out of her hand.
Oh,
wow.
Been waiting to show us the whole time.
Wait, did you say the bracelet?
Mike Shirley coming
He's like, I knew you were going to talk about it at some point.
Exactly.
Oh, you mean this whole thing? You mean this whole thing?
Well, hey first of all, Michael, where did you get yours? Who are you wearing?
I've had this before Kamala Khan was even a comic book, so I can tell you that.
Okay.
So is it Wonder Woman then?
Yeah.
No, it's just like an Indian bangle.
It does look like it could stop bullets, so let's try.
Only with Eric.
Right, I know. Yeah, Eric is on assignment, but he will be back next week.
Of course. He's trying to find out if Sharon Carter's a Skrull or not.
True.
Look, somebody's got to be working on it.
Somebody's got to be on it.
So what are our thoughts sort of about just how much her parents know about maybe family history? I mean, I feel like that's some not too subtle, background that they're giving us. What do you think, Jeff? You feel like mom's not going to be shocked if she sees her, manifesting powers in some way?
Right.
I wonder if I'm thinking it's something along the lines of like her sister, whoever this person who had the bracelet before, was always gone, and always something along the lines of like head in the clouds, because she keeps saying that she was gone and not around and stuff. And she probably just doesn't understand why, literally doesn't understand the bracelet is the reason why. So I think it'll come full circle once she sees Kamala using that. And then maybe we'll get some more backstory. But I don't, like you're saying, I don't think she knows everything, but she knows that because of this bracelet resembles her person being gone a lot. I don't know in what sense though.
And Daniel has this point. I don't think her mom saw she was wearing it when she got back from the con. Kamala's sleeve was covering it. Yeah, I was sort of talking about when she was going through the box of stuff, but she didn't see it, and that's probably intentional.
I'm also wondering if like,
what was that, Michael?
I think it's a net binning.
You think that's a net banning? Yeah, I mean that probably seems to right.
Everything's a net banning.
Yeah,
I'm also wondering if they're going to bring like, she's like, I wish that was, with the dreaming and stuff. It's like, I wonder if I wish I could just say she's getting old, but that's just who she is like the only character detail we have about this woman. And I wonder if they're going to do something similar to Angelina Jolie's character in Eternals and give her like a neurodivergency. Like using the bracelet too much affected her brain, like a dementia type or an Alzheimer's type of thing.
That's a little dark for a kid show.
It might be, but like,
well, Marvel, the original Marvel Captain Marvel, to be specific, he exacerbated his cancer because of every time he used his powers. So
and same with Mighty Thor.
Right? Yeah. So I think that we'll definitely get to I think that we'll see. I feel like something like that would be much further down the road. I don't think she's going to have.
Why would it just be in a box if it meant that much? Like I'm just imagining this grandma sending junk, and the most important piece of junk is just in a box with other junk. It's not like, hey, I passed this to the family. It's like, I'm throwing it in. Like,
right, and she even says that she's been doing
means.
It for years. She did it when she was younger. Yeah, so I believe she refers to her as Nani, which I assume is her grandmother. Yeah, and I think that's something that we'll certainly get to see some more of. And I think that we got, to sort of backtrack to the backstory and the family and all that. Like, I did actually really like the shopping sequence that had nothing to do with superheroing. I thought that it was just like, the like halal guy who knows her and all that. It's just I thought it was good. But that sequence in particular, for those with the even casually aware eye, Atlanta doesn't look anything like Jersey City, like not even remotely. It couldn't look less like Jersey City. So I got over it, but and I saw in the credits that there's like a Jersey City plate unit, and I'm like, yeah, you probably could have used a couple more people on that to try to make it look less like Atlanta.
So a plate unit is a group of people that take cameras and they'll do driving plates as well. So they'll be in a car and they'll literally drive through the city so that they can kind of plaster that on a green screen. They do that a lot in films or also drone shots. So drone shots and like extra shots, it would be its own unit, but plate shots are to specifically add to, we need this for this moment. We need her looking out a car window and it to be, in the background. It's specifically to put on green screen shots or to cover something.
Right. Thank you for, because I was just going to move on. So I'm glad you actually took the time. No. It's good because I didn't think that I should have taken the time to explain it, and you were absolutely right because it's it definitely is an important part. I mean, look, so many shows now are filmed somewhere completely different than where it's supposed to be.
Right.
And when you do it in movies, you can spend a lot more money on it. And I don't know. Look, I don't think it looked bad. It just looks like a different place. That's all. And because I've also been to Atlanta, I know that it looks like Atlanta. But it is hardly a big problem for the show. So what do we think we're going to get? I want to start sort of like big. I feel like and I haven't read anything. There've been no set leaks. Michael hasn't spoiled anything for me yet, but I don't know anything about where anything's going. I feel like because this leads into the Marvels, and Feige even says it in that guide to Ms. Marvel, I feel like we're going to see Carol at the end of this series. Does anyone disagree?
I don't know that we're gonna see her face. We might see
you think
her
it'll be
show
like
up at the door like Ralph Boner?
It'll be like Shazam, where you see Superman from the neck down.
Possibly.
So
I think they could get Brie Larson out for a day.
I think they can because they shot the Marvels right after in Atlanta. So I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know if they're gonna waste their time just to get her face.
Well, I mean, and what's
they put Yelena in Hawkeye?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
but she actually had stuff to do, and also I don't know. I think that Florence Pugh might be a little bit more affordable.
Big old
than
face of hers will be on anything.
I'm going.
You won't let that go.
We will. I think we will because I think Marvel has been hiding Captain Marvel a little bit, which is why the opening...
Oh, is that the way you want to say it? Because I think it's kind of the other way around.
They're hiding. I think so. I think they're trying to figure out. They were trying to figure out what to do with her, which is what was amazing about that first opening graphic. Her YouTube video, because one, it reminded me of the old Star Wars with the toys stop motion stuff. Like how that all started was, people using the Star Wars toys to make all those fan videos. And a lot of that was done with stop motion, but it was really cool. But it was all about how awesome she was in that final battle of like, hey, remember that she was really cool? Hey, remember that she like almost beat everybody and that she punched Thanos in the face, and we all really liked that when we saw it in the movie theater. Remember that?
You remember? So I think that seeing Captain Marvel wouldn't be surprised. I also feel like we could very well end up seeing Monica Rambeau, who we know is going to be in the Marvels. I don't think that's
more likely.
Well,
his head.
From a budgetary standpoint, absolutely. But Jeff, why do you think not?
It doesn't make sense story wise, and this is what's going on in my head.
What?
I'm gonna let you guys know. I'm gonna let you guys know.
Let us know.
There's a reason why Carol Danvers was not in WandaVision. It's because Monica Rambeau has an issue with Carol Danvers.
Correct.
She is not friends with Carol Danvers right now. So Carol Danvers is the only, there's no reason Monica can be over here trying to enlist another person who likes Carol Danvers, because right now she's not worried about little kids. She's worried about Carol Danvers, who just left, and not worried about her mom when her mom's dead. There's no reason for Monica Rambeau to talk to Miss Marvel.
Did you see the?
There's no reason right now.
Scene?
Well, that's that's where I was going to go next.
Think that there's
doesn't she still work? Doesn't Monica still work for the government in some capacity?
Yeah. But she's gone.
What?
She's gone right now. She literally left the.
At
Earth.
The end of WandaVision.
Yeah. The Earth.
Yeah. Earth. Yeah.
She left Earth.
Earth with an F. So no, but she what's his name? A scroll literally picked her up and said it's time to go at the end of WandaVision.
Yeah, well, yeah,
she's gone.
Yeah,
she's gone.
I mean,
maybe we'll get Darcy again.
Even that'd be great. Scrolls are capable of round trip travel. It's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Wait, Jeff, who?
I really want a Bruce Banner and Abu scene. I need that now because he dressed up as Big Hulk.
Oh, that would be great.
It would be great, but they spent all the Ruffalo money on She-Hulk, so I don't think that he's going to show up in this. It'd make it less special to see him in She-Hulk if he's also in Ms. Marvel. I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Kate?
No, here's what I'm hoping they don't do, because I just figured this out. This is a total meet your hero movie, TV show. Yeah. Well, they already did that with Hawkeye, and he's slightly disappointing in Hawkeye when she first meets him. You know what I mean? I learned archery for you, and archery, I have a bow. It's very hard. So, to be that good at archery and to meet your archery hero, your superhero hero, and have them slightly disappoint you is really heartbreaking. And if they do that again, they're just recycling. So I hope they don't do that.
I don't see there's any world in which Kamala would be heartbroken by any meeting with Carol.
Yeah, I mean, Carol could actually slap her in the face, and she's like, "Oh my god, I touched her hand."
Yeah. very much.
Yeah, I put my face in your palm.
Yeah, like it was amazing.
It was great.
Yeah, well, I was reasoning out, and Jeff definitely poured cold water on it, but how we could see Monica Rambeau and then separately also see Carol Danvers. They wouldn't show up together because you're right, they're not pals. But I feel like we could see both of them because all three of them will be in the Marvels. But they also could save that. Somebody in the chat said, "Oh, Daniel, we'll see that story in the Marvels." I think. Yeah, I mean, it might not be until then, but I don't know. I just feel like we're sort of being set up for a moment where she gets to interact with Carol. So we'll have to find out. We'll see where it all goes. Very interested. I did think that this was a great first episode. I found that it is probably one of the better first episodes of these Disney Plus shows. The first episode of Moon Knight was just mostly confusing, and we'll just leave it at that. But anyway, so we will be back next week, and we'll talk about episode 2. The other big thing that happened that's adjacent to the Marvel Universe was that fan favorite Morbius returned to theaters by demand from some
demand. Are you wait?
Memes demanded it.
Demand.
Jeff, your understanding is that the people wanted more Morbius, right?
Yeah, I mean, from
Twitter.
Time out. From Twitter,
just look at Twitter.
It was trending.
Yeah.
It's Morbius time. That's all I was told.
It's Morbin
time.
It's been Morbin time.
Look,
and to the extent that the per screen average was about $237 over the weekend, it seems like it was a success. But look,
how many screens were there? 2?
A success.
No. There were like 1,000 screens. But oh, Jeff, the connection's bad. Oh no, Jeff's got it. Oh no, Jeff's back. Oh, there's only his chair though. Anyway, I think that I don't understand putting any movie back into theaters when it's like they do it sometimes to promote that you can buy a Blu-ray or get it digitally. It's like once you can get
10-year anniversary.
Well, that's different. But like, they'll do it with movies sometimes. And it's like, we don't have any new footage, but let's go and have it. But I don't know. I don't see the reason for it, but obviously the people at Sony understand how to market a film and are able to have as much success as possible with it. But Michael, how long do you think it would be between now and the time that you sit down to watch Morbius?
I don't know that I'll ever see it.
That's kind of what I thought you might say.
How many pina coladas would it take?
I don't like pineapple.
Wait, you don't like pina coladas or getting caught in the rain?
No, not with this hair.
Well, Kate, did you ever see it?
No. Why would I do that?
I don't know.
I've been too busy watching Star Trek, fool.
Punishment.
Star Trek's been good, and there was a comment in the chat a long time ago as to why there's not a Ben Kenobi podcast because I haven't watched any of it yet. I haven't. This is the first television that I've seen in a month because I was traveling and gallivanting and much too busy. But what I am going to watch...
I still caught up and I was in a territory, so come on.
What I am going to get caught up on first is Star Trek Brave New Worlds, starring Anson Mount, a.k.a. Black Bolt of the Inhumans.
I know.
So I'll be getting caught up on that.
And in Doctor Strange, too.
Possibly. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't really know. In any case, that's all the time we have for this week. But if you've enjoyed seeing the four of us talk now about Ms. Marvel, you'll really enjoy seeing us in about 7 hours over on the Geekscape network.
You bought the copy?
Yeah, of course I did. I needed it. I think I even texted you. I had like 2.5 hours to kill in New York when I was meeting my brother for lunch, and I'm like, great, I'm just gonna buy it.
That's so $35.
How much? How many issues does that collect?
This is
Jeff,
14.
what's happening? I can't hear
That's
you.
all 14.
Yes, okay. All 14 are in here. Yeah, Jeff is definitely talking, but we're not hearing him. That's true. Yeah, and
I think Your
Nope.
AirPods went out, bro.
Yeah, maybe your AirPods. That might have been it. So I know she's trying them again. Anyway, at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern, you will see us over on the Geekscape Network for the Geekscape
Can you hear
Book
me?
Club. Yes, we
Yes.
do hear you.
Okay.
And I'm glad that
Whoa.
you weren't going to have to
Sounds like
mine
a
your thoughts about Moon Knight.
Drive through though.
So over on Geekscape, you'll find us. You can find a live streaming video. I'll tweet the link out from the Marvel Movie Talk account, also from my personal account. But also you'll be able to get it as a podcast if you want to just subscribe. And we are going to talk about Moon Knight, which I enjoyed, and more so than the TV show, but that's just me. So we'll talk about it. And so please join us over there, hopefully. But yeah, Kemi Egan was the first one to notice, by the way. Jeff, you're on mute. I was just so busy looking at myself.
Thank you.
I didn't even notice yet. But so you'll be able to find us over there
he
tonight.
wasn't though for a while. This is a
No.
I wasn't on. I mean, like, it was just a lot of technical difficulties. My AirPods are connecting to my phone.
You needed
and, like,
a Bruno.
I really,
You
literally.
do need a Bruno. Yeah. But we're gonna go back to not
Or
talking
Zuzu.
about Bruno. Or Zuzu. Yeah, Zuzu could go a long way. But for those of you that just want to join us to talk about Marvel Movie Talk, you can find us next week. But until then, Jeff, where can people find you? It is not what you have on the screen.
Yeah. You can follow me at Jeff Will Jr. on our social media platforms. Also, we didn't talk about it. Thor: Love and Thunder tickets come out. my guy. Thor: Love and Thunder tickets come out on Monday. So I will see you guys on Monday.
Hey!
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for to hear about how much trouble Eric had. If you remember him getting his Doctor Strange tickets, and then his kid got COVID, but then he was actually able to go. So that'll be fine. And Ms. Kate, where can people find you?
At Cornell on all platforms, even Twitter. Yeah, I got a Twitter now. I'm sorry.
I know. I saw
It's
that.
very weird.
You just got one?
No, she's had it.
I've had it. I just don't check it. And then I was using it for an art project, and then I was like, well, I'm not using it really, so I'll just use it for my stuff.
Yeah. And of course, Michael, where can people find you?
You can find me at I Hate Michael Shirley on Instagram and Michael X Shirley on Twitter.
And later this week, to be announced, you'll find Michael and I over on the Blackcast, the flagship show for the Blackcast Entertainment Network, BLADTCIST, talking about some of the most important legal precedents of the 21st century. Specifically, Michael asked if we could talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. So we'll be talking about Jack Sparrow and Mira from Aquaman.
I got really excited that we were going to talk about like Roe v. Wade and like Holder versus Bull. I was just like, ooh, Supreme Court law.
That's
and
next.
like,
That's next
"Oh."
week. Yeah. Although no, I think I might step in and do a half hour on OJ, half hour on the Menendez brothers. So we'll get around. We'll get around to actual important legal proceedings. Plus, we'll probably start doing a Judge Jerry after show over here on the Blackcast YouTube channel. In any case, you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Christian DMZ and all those other places. We'll see you next week. And as Cam Egan says, and the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior!